In this lesson, we'll create a custom baluster family type to create a unique rail system. All right, so now that we've started the basic form for our staircase here, I'd like to jump into a family template and create a custom baluster for our railing system. Now, the great thing about doing this, initially it sounds like a really complex thing to jump into, but Revit has templates already set aside. So when I open up a baluster family, I won't have to set any reference planes, any midpoints, or set any constraints or any parametric details. That's already going to be done for me, so it's relatively painless. So to do that, I'm going to go to this drop-down menu here at the top, and we want to open up a new family template. And luckily, on our first run through this, our very first template is the baluster, and that's exactly what we need. So I'm going to click on that one, and I'll open it up. And what you'll notice in this family template is it has all the elements we need. It has my midpoint here, or my center. It has my top and bottom. But what's going on the top and bottom is it already supplies me with a good angle for those cuts. So these will fit nicely in between my top and bottom rail. It also has a height, a baluster height here that's parametric. So if I did need to change that, I could simply click in there, type in a new dimension, and the form I have in place, the height will change and the proportions will pretty much stay the same. So there's really all you have to do at this point is simply just model and sketch in what you want. And that's exactly what we'll do. What we'll do is we'll sketch in a nice curved form, and we'll use the sweeping form to get this accomplished. So I'm going to select on sweep underneath my forms, and we want to sketch this path. And before we do that, let's go ahead and select our work plane. So I know I'm looking here on my left view, and you'll see that here's in my views I can open up, it'll say left side. So I'm going to want to choose a work plane that kind of corresponds with that. So in my drop down, we'll go here to reference plane, left and right. That's exactly what I want. And you'll see that box highlights. So it means what I selected is where we're already at in this view. So I'll click OK. And now I can simply sketch that in that form I want. So I'm going to use the spline to get this accomplished. So I'll start here at the top, and I'm simply going to come out here just a little bit. I'm going to click there, and I'm going to come here to this midpoint line. I'm going to click when I get to that point, and I'm going to come out to this area, and I'm going to drop down the very bottom of our curve here. And I can hit escape to get out of that command. Now, if I wanted to continue to mess with this more and maybe accentuate the curves just a little bit more, I could simply just double click on that and grab my points and drag out those curves just a little bit more to make them look a little more exaggerated. So I want the bottom to be much more curvier than what's going on the top. So what I can do now is hit the green check mark, and we're going to edit profile, but Revit wants us to be in a 3D view to get this done because we need to be able to see what's going on with this work plane when we place a profile onto it. So I'm going to make sure I got 3D view, open the view, and I just got to look for my form here. And now we're going to select a shape here to put into this work plane. I'm going to make sure I select it in my midpoint, and I want my sharp edges to be exposed on the left and right. So I'm going to make sure I orient this in the right position. And I'm also going to pay close attention to the dimension that's getting called out. I don't want this baluster to be too thick, but I don't want it to be too thin either. So I'm going to try to get this to a relatively nice size here. We'll go with 1/2 inch, and that's just the radius. So that lets me know that the diameter of this thing is going to be about 1 inch, which sounds like it's going to work for us. So once I have that in place, I'll hit the green check mark. I'll hit it one more time, and we've created a really nice form. So now what we can do is we can go to our views, and we'll jump to our left side that we've been working in. That's a left elevation. And let's see if we need to make any additional adjustments. No, we don't. So we've lined this up nicely to where it lines up with these angle cuts. But let's say we did create this form and there was some overlapping here, and we needed to have the cuts in place so that it fits nicely in between our top and bottom rail. All we need to do is create void forms for this top and bottom, and it'll create that nice angle. And what you do is you'll sketch it in from this left side using simple sketch and line tools. Really easy process, but we got it right the first time, so we don't have to make any additional adjustments, which is ideal. So at this point, I want to save this custom baluster we made. I'm going to save as, so I can give it a name. And in my case, I'm just going to place it on my desktop real quick. So we'll call this one curved baluster form, and I'll save that one. And now I can load it into my project. And what will happen is I'll load it in my project, but we don't see it, but it'll be something we can retrieve later on when we're creating our railing design. So before we jump off to the next step, I do want to load in one more element that's going to be included in our railing system. So again, I'm going to go to the drop down here, but instead of going to new, I'm simply going to go to open, and we're going to open another family. And what I want to locate is a post or a newel that's going to really look good with our design. So we're going to look for a railings family folder and balusters, and let's see if we can find a type that's going to work well for us here. So we can maybe go with post newel. I like this one a lot. It's got some nice details on it, but later on we can add some more details to really customize this. But it's a good start. So I'm going to select open, and I'm going to load this one into my project as well. And I'm going to load it into this first one. It's your project you're working in is usually checked, so you don't have to worry about making a selection here. But mine's going to be 03 begin. I'll click OK. And at this point, we have all the elements we need to get our railing into our stair system here. And we'll jump in how to work with that in the next lesson.